PubSub Messenger for Unity. This demo will describe the lightweight, open-source library that is made for Unity. This library will provide a PubSub mechanism that is a part of solid principles in programming. It is recommended to pause this video in certain places to review provided information. Let's review a common problem in Unity C# programming. Tightly coupled code parts may cause memory leak and maintenance problems. The publisher and the subscriber have to know of each other, and the subscriber can't be collected by the garbage collector if it's connected with the publisher with strong event reference. This called hardwiring. Although Unity event routing is a very good feature, it is a Unity-specific solution that uses Unity types and we need a generic one. Also, we cannot use it everywhere even if the project is in Unity. In commonly used C# events or so-called delegates, classes are familiar with each other and this prevents good modularity and maintenance. This is not following solid principles and objects are not encapsulated enough. Let's review an example of common usages of events in C#. Class human contains two events. Fetch stick event that can invoke event handler with stick parameter. Static event fetch ball that can invoke event handler with ball parameter. Class dog contains on fetch stick event handler that has parameter stick. Class cat contains on fetch ball event handler that has parameter ball. Class playground is used for the registration of event handlers. Playground contains properties that have references to instances, David, of type human, Rex, of type dog, Max, of type cat. The purpose of method, register events is to attach event handlers, so-called callbacks to events, so-called delegates. On fetch stick event handler is attached to fetch stick event and instance named David has reference to instance named Rex. Rex will not be removed from the memory until its handler on fetch stick will be detached from the fetch stick event or until instance named David will be removed from the memory. On fetch ball event handler is attached to static event. Fetch ball and instance named Max is referenced by static pointer fetch ball from class named human. Max will not be removed from the memory until its handler on fetch ball will be detached from the static event fetch ball. Static references are worst case of memory leaks since they usually live until end of the running process. Let's review the solution that this library proposes. This library contains PubSub Messenger module that is a container for events and allows decoupling of publishers and subscribers so they can evolve independently. This decoupling is useful in modularized applications and games because new modules can be added that respond to events defined in other modules. All events have a weak reference and invocation can be done synchronously or asynchronously. Instead of passing references to objects, pass small data payloads, or so-called messages that are relevant for the specific cases. Classes will not be familiar with each other. This will allow better encapsulation and less dependencies. In case of subscribers destruction, like in case of reference to destroyed mono behavior, it will be automatically removed from Messenger's subscribers list, since it was referenced by a weak reference mechanism. PubSub can be a great pattern in combination with other solid patterns like dependency injection and inversion of control. Let's review how previous problematic sample can be improved with the usage of Messenger. Improved class human contains method publish fetch stick payload. This method is publishing fetch stick payload via default instance of Messenger. Fetch stick payload is a lightweight class that contains two properties. Property, stick type that can be used to filter payloads by types of sticks. For example, different dogs like different types of sticks. Property position is a position of a stick in the space or in the game scene, where dog can fetch the stick. Improved class dog contains method onFetchStick that is used as a callback to receive fetchStick payload. In this case, dog is a subscriber and human is a publisher. The class playground includes three properties: David, type of human, is a publisher; Billy, type of dog, is a first subscriber; Mika, type of dog, is a second subscriber. The subscribe method is used to subscribe dogs to receive fetchStick payload. Instance Billy is subscribed to receive fetchStick payload into callback named onFetchStick. Instance Mika is subscribed to receive fetchStick payload with predicate into callback named onFetchStick. Predicate delegate can fetch stick, that we can also call as Boolean filter function, is responsible to filter out payloads by stick types. Mika will receive payloads only in case this predicate will return true for certain payloads. Both dog and human classes are not aware about each other and do not have any references between them. FetchStick payload is used to pass information between them via messenger. David publishes fetchStick payload without being aware who is the subscriber. This is a one-way operation or so-called fire and forget action. Billy will receive any published fetchStick payload without knowing who is the publisher. Mika will receive filtered fetchStick payloads without knowing who is the publisher. For example, CanFetchStick predicate function will return true only in case stick type will be equal to wooden stick, since Mika does not like other types of sticks. There are no limits on number of subscribers to same payload. Same payload can be received from any publisher. Payload that can call a message is published in a sequential way. The subscription order defines the order of receiving the message. In this example, the first subscriber will be first, who will receive a message. Second subscriber will receive a message after first subscriber. Synchronous sequential order is deterministic, but can be problematic in some cases. In case first subscriber will have a long-running or a blocking code in its callback method, second and following subscribers will have to wait or will be blocked. In this case we can use asynchronous publishing by using multi-threading or coroutines in Unity. Messenger has internal thread synchronization mechanism to support that. It is possible to subscribe with a predicate function that will be used as filter for incoming messages. Both callback and predicate functions can be located in different classes. Messenger is using weak reference technique to point to callback and to predicate functions. If callback function owner instance is destroyed, weak reference will release its pointer and Messenger will automatically remove the callback and the predicate. This will prevent a potential memory leaks and will reduce the memory size. Messenger can be used in these cases. In case we need to pass a payload between disconnected parts of code or to trigger events in various modules of the game without wiring them together. In case we need thread-safe invocation of callbacks between disconnected parts of code. For example, when some AI agent controller runs a simulation on a different thread than scene renderer or UI, and it has to update them. In case we need an asynchronous invocation of callbacks between disconnected parts of code. For example, when we need to send game events to some analytics controller without blocking our gameplay. When we need a filtered invocation of callbacks between disconnected parts of code. It is also possible to add payload filtering without extension of the subscriber class. Obfuscated or hidden invocation of callbacks between disconnected parts of code. callback method can be private. In that case, subscriber can self-subscribe to specific callbacks. Neither publisher or other parts of the game will be able to call private callback. Messenger class implements a messenger interface that contains three methods. Subscribe method is used for the subscription of callback delegate to receive a specific type of payload. Method accepts a predicate delegate to allow filtering of unwanted payloads. Unsubscribe method is used for the removal of callback delegate. Publish method is used for the publishing of the specific payload. It is possible to access the default instance of Messenger via namespace supermaxim.messaging. Publish method has a generic parameter that specifies the type of the payload and a parameter of the same type that receives the instance of the payload. In most cases, no need in specifying the genetic parameter type. Compiler will determine the type from past instance of the payload. One of the options is to publish a payload with the generic type of its base class. Only subscribers of the specified generic type will receive the payload. Subscribe method accepts callback delegate that has reference to the callback function with the parameter of expected type of the payload. As in previous example, it is possible to specify generic parameter with the type of base class of the payload. Subscribe method has optional parameter named predicate that can accept a delegate with reference to Boolean function. Predicate function is used for filtering of received payloads. If function returns true value, the callback will be invoked by the messenger and will not be invoked in case of return false value. Unsubscribe method call has a generic parameter to specify the payload type of the subscribed callback. Unsubscribe method will be invoked in these cases: in a case where is no need in receiving of payload in subscribed callback, and in case subscriber's instance needs to be destroyed. Unsubscribe method should be called with same parameters that were used for the subscription. Generic parameter that is used for the payload type specification is used as a key. The key that is used for the subscription should be used for unsubscribing. Some tips for the correct usage of Messenger. Don't use Messenger if you have a direct access to shared code parts to invoke events or methods in the same class or module. Always ensure that you unsubscribe when you're done with the consuming of payloads. Don't publish payloads in endless or in a long-running loops. Prefer using filtered subscriptions. Messenger uses MainThread Dispatcher for the synchronization between main game thread and other threads. MainThread Dispatcher implements interface iThread Dispatcher. Thread ID returns the ID of main thread. Dispatch method dispatches delegate that will be executed on the main thread. Dispatch method can be called via default instance of MainThread Dispatcher. It receives the instance of the delegate and the array of objects that will be used as parameters during the invocation of the delegate. PubSub library contains three main folders. Folder named Demo includes demo scene and scripts for chat sample. Folder named Editor includes scripts for editor mode. Folder named Plugins includes the implementation of the messenger and common scripts. Folders named Core contain base classes and scripts that are shared across different modules. Folders named Messaging contain classes and scripts that are specific for the messenger. Core folder under Plugins folder contains shared types that are used across the project. Extensions folder under Core folder contains helpful extensions classes. Collection extensions is a static class with collection extension functions. Objects folder under Core folder contains base classes. Mono behavior singleton is an abstract base class for mono behavior singletons. Singleton is an abstract base class for classic singletons. Threading folder under Core folder contains types for multi-threading support. Dispatcher task class is representing a task unit with weak reference to delegate execute on thread. MainThread Dispatcher is an interface for Thread Dispatcher API. MainThread Dispatcher is a singleton class that implements MainThread Dispatcher interface and provides API to synchronize tasks between main thread and other threads. Weak ref folder under Core folder contains classes for handling weak reference technique. Weak ref wrapper is a facade class, or wrapper, for .NET's weak reference class. Weak ref delegate class allows weak reference delegate. Messaging folder under Plugins folder contains folders and types that are relevant for the implementation of PubSub Messenger. iMessenger API interface that is implemented in class Messenger. Messenger class that implements interface iMessenger. Messenger is main class in this library. Subscriber class with a reference to subscribers callback via weak reference pointer. Subscribers list in class Messenger contains items of this type. Components folder in messaging folder contains useful Unity components. iPayload command interface that is implemented in class payload command. Payload command class that implements interface iPayload command can be used as a generic payload and contains properties, ID, property that can be used for filtering payloads, data, property that has reference to instance of type, scriptable object. Payload command publisher, script that can be attached to any game object in the scene. It can be used for publishing, command payload and triggered from Unity UI or other events. Monitor folder contains tools for debugging and monitoring. iMessenger Monitor interface that is implemented in Messenger Monitor class. Messenger Monitor class that implements interface iMessenger Monitor. This class is used to display a list of subscribers and other information from Messenger class. This package contains the basic set of unit tests. Messenger's unit tests are covering functional tests, to ensure that all critical functionality is working as expected, load tests, to ensure that the expected load will not cause performance issues, multi-threading tests, to ensure that Messenger is working in multi-threaded mode under load. Weak reference tests are covering functional tests to ensure that Messenger will release destroyed subscribers from the memory. This library contains demonstration project that implements simple game chat between two players. Goals of this demo: show how to use Messenger API, use real-world example chat between two players, include examples of message filtering and multi-threading, show best practices approach in implementation and emphasize solid principles like single responsibility, open-closed, interface segregation, and others. Each component in this demo is independent and can be easily extended or removed without changing the entire project structure. Demo folder contains files for sample project. Prefabs folder in demo folder contains two prefabs. Chat panel prefab contains elements for player chat UI. Hub panel prefab contains top panel with HUD elements. Scenes folder and demo folder contains chat sample scene. Scripts folder under demo folder contains scripts for this demo. Chat controller script controls chat panel prefab, responsible for message input field, printing incoming messages, publishing and subscribing payloads. Chat messages count controller script listens to received chat messages, counts them and displays count in HUD panel. Chat payload class that is used to pass messages between chat users. Demo scene is built with these main parts. Left and right chat panels built from chat panel prefabs. Chat panel is controlled by a chat controller. HUD panel is built from HUD panel prefab and controlled by chat message count controller. Chat controllers publish payloads via PubSub messenger. Chat controller subscribed to chat message payload with filter predicate to filter its own messages. When multi-threaded toggle is on, chat payloads will be sent on a separate thread from main game thread. Plugin source repository can be found on GitHub. Subscribe to our channel for more interesting content. Thanks for watching.